What is going on, everybody? It's your boy and welcome back to Tacos and Touchdown Live. I got my co-host Shane in the building, and we have a special guest, host of Big Block Sports, my guy Malcolm. How's it going, Malcolm?
Yo, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate y'all boys. Everybody having a good day?
Yes, sir.
I'd say so. I mean, Aaron knows that I'm busy all the time, but I actually made time to finally come out to do the show.
Yeah,
I do a lot with radio, and I do a lot with For the Numbers. So I didn't want to forget about Aaron, who's been my ride or die, my day one.
There you go.
I need to make time. I need to make time for my guy.
There you go.
Appreciate you, bro. Maybe get you some W energy or something like that. Just get a little spark in your life right now.
Nice plug. Go ahead and promote him, I guess.
Hey, I learn from the best. That's what I'm trying to do. But let's get into a little bit about the D-Hop trade. There's been a couple of trades going on before the trade block. What is y'all's thoughts on D-Hop going to the Chiefs of all places?
Because it happened like early in the morning, right? So the first thing you wake up, you're like, oh hell no. I don't know. He hasn't looked exceptional in Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? I think where he was at before that, Arizona, he was, and some of that has to do with the quarterback play, obviously. But I don't know how much he's going to bring. I know his name brings a lot. I'm interested to see what he brings. I think that was probably the best fit for him because, there was some connection to him going to San Francisco, but I just don't think he's that type of receiver. He's kind of a free play, get open kind of guy. And Kelsey is already about that. So I feel like Kansas City is going to be a good fit for him. I just wonder how much he has left, and how much he can bring to that offense.
I'm going to wonder at what point do AFC teams stop helping the Chiefs because this team has been down so many receivers. And again, I don't wish injury on anybody, but like there comes a time in a dynasty in which a team starts to shed a little bit of blood. For instance, Malcolm, up in the Bay Area, people who are Niners fans are also Warriors fans, right? After that last championship, y'all started to see a little bit of seeping. You'll start to see Clay and Steph sort of show a little bit of age. Draymond didn't show the same tenacity he once did. He was still vocal, but he didn't have the same tenacity. So you started to see like tiny little hints that the dynasty could start to become a part a little bit. With Kansas City, their dynasty is predicated obviously not only on Patrick Mahomes, but also on the skill of the defense. And how do you help your quarterback is you give them more weapons. And what's been available to them the last couple of years has been receivers on the trade block. It's been guys like McCole Hardman going from the Jets back to the Chiefs. It's been Tony going from the Giants to the Chiefs. It's been a number of guys that people just keep giving the Chiefs, even when they have, and this is not an argument, this is a fact, the best quarterback in the league. Now, right now, if you look at their lineup today, their start receivers would be, I'm going to assume Hopkins just because they put Sky Moore on the IR. I believe Juju Smith-Schuster is questionable. I don't believe he's officially out yet. He would be your slot guy, and he's a poor man's Rashee Rice at this point. And Xavier Worthy has been more of a gadget guy. And I talked about this with Aaron, who's a diehard Longhorns fan, that Xavier Worthy is going to be a fun gadget guy, but he'd have the same playmaking ability that Tyreek Hill did because Tyreek Hill, even though he's a fast guy, he also has some strength to him. Xavier Worthy is very small. He's much more close to a Deshaun Jackson type than he is a Tyreek Hill type. So like with him to get him comfortable in the offense, you have to sort of like spread the ball out and let him run deep routes. I'm talking post, goes, and maybe an occasional wheel, depending on something like that. But he's much more of a gadget guy right now that he doesn't really have a spot in this offense as a full-time receiver. What Hopkins gives you, at the very least, is possession yardage. Because through the first couple weeks of the season, no one has run 3 tight ends more than the Chiefs have. You can look this up. They've run 13 and 23 personnel when they've run 2 backs, more than any other team in the NFL. They like to use Travis Kelce, Justin Watson, and Noah Gray as their primary 3 tight ends because they use them as tight ends. They spread them out as receivers. Travis Kelce has played the X as well as played the Y position, similar to how San Francisco will move Kittle from the Y tight end position and push him out to the slot. Sometimes he'll be alone as the X. They do similar stuff with him. But what that does for them is at the very least it gives them a possession type player because unfortunately this isn't the same DeAndre Hopkins we've known and loved. He doesn't have the same separation. He still has reliable hands and he still has plenty of toughness. but he didn't have that same sort of breaking speed off the line of scrimmage that once made him one of the more deadly route runners in the NFL. So at the very least, what it does is it gives you a reliable target for Patrick Mahomes. But I don't want to sit here and pretend like this is some sort of this is the same thing as trading Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins, where it's going to be a game changer.
Yeah. You just see a guy that he's not the same guy who with the Texans, but like he said, he's a good possession receiver, reliable hands. That's what they need on this team. If you didn't look at stats right now, Patrick Mahomes has more interceptions than touchdowns right now, and that's crazy to even think. They're an undefeated team right now, but it's based on they had a really good defense. They're keeping teams under 21 points. That's their nucleus for now for the Chiefs. But adding a wide receiver piece like D-Hop, that'd be a good addition because they really need it. Because Travis Kelce hadn't been the same guy this year either. I don't know if he's even fully into football anymore. I think he's
on tour. He's on tour. That boy
he's on tour in Hollywood. He's Hollywood now. Hollywood
he's in his era.
Yeah.
There you go. I agree. I think it's a lot different than I don't know if we're gonna talk about other moves, but like Cooper going to Buffalo. Now that's a move right there because I feel like that's what Buffalo needs 1,000%. And I feel like the offense, a little bit opposite of Kansas City, the offense in Buffalo is what makes that team go.
Yeah, that's definitely a good addition. So what is y'all thoughts on before we get into the preview? What is y'all thoughts on Cooper Kupp that's being on the move? What do you think would be the best team for him? I know both our teams need a receiver, but is there another team y'all can think of?
I mean, I would like him on San Francisco. Now, is McVay going to look out in the division? Highly unlikely.
The Rams going to trade one of their better players in franchise history to the arch rival.
Exactly.
That'd be crazy.
I've thought about this, and I know Cowboys fans want Cooper Kupp just because he does have a Cowboys legacy. His grandpa did play for the Cowboys back in the '60s, and it looks like we have a guest star in the background. You might see my daughter make a cameo. Who knows? I think here's the thing. I think he would fit in the Cowboys offense just because they run a lot of 11 personnel. They love to run one tight end, one running back. They love to use multiple receivers. Their best formation, and Aaron will tell you this, has been when they run 12 personnel or when they run 22. They have not been good when they've had multiple receivers out there. When they've had two tight ends or a fullback and a running back, it's been when they've been able to have the most success on the offense. But they've also put themselves in a hole so many times that they've needed to use so many multiple receiver sets. So I actually don't think the Cowboys are the best move. I think he would fit on the Cowboys offense, and I think honestly any sort of McVay/Shanahan offense would fit any receiver like Cooper Kupp. But I think the team that needs him the most, that makes the most sense, and I thought about this. I was thinking, what about a team that's like really pushing for the playoffs that needs that extra oomph, that needs that second option? What about the Green Bay Packers? Because right now their go-to guy is Jaden Reed, who's their slot receiver, really good player. Right now, they're rotating guys like Jentavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs, and Christian Watson on the outside, but none of those guys are really what I would consider dangerous threats. Those are guys who once a while will put up good numbers to compensate across from Jaden Reed. And they also have guys like Tyler Kroft and Luke Musgraves at the tight end position who are factors, but also they haven't really developed yet into becoming what you would consider to be elite tight ends at all. Because unfortunately, tight end, and I told this Aaron by the way, tight end takes the longest time to develop in the NFL of any position. I mean, George Kittle was a 5th-round pick because he just wasn't a developed receiver. Once he developed his route running ability, everyone already knew he was a great run blocker. Once he did that, he became one of the best tight ends in the league. Now he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. That's the whole thing. I think the Packers actually make the most sense for need as well as compensation for what they need for the fit, because then you could put Reed and Kupp as that ZY swap combo. And if you want to, you can send one of those other receivers to Green Bay to offset, because I do think right now, if you look at the NFC, it's controlled by the North. All four teams in the North today, I think, if I remember right, would make the playoffs if the season ended today. And all four teams really could. But I think the Packers right now, I don't think the Packers are that far behind the Lions, the Vikings. I really don't.
Bears.
Well, I wouldn't even say the Bears. I think they're ahead of the Bears. I'm trying to think of the other NFC teams right now that are a threat. San Francisco is still a threat. Right now, y'all just hurt.
We an injury threat.
Yeah.
We an injury threat more than anything else. We a threat to get injured.
and Tampa Bay, I guess, would be the other one. Like right now, those are the other So I think Green Bay actually makes the most sense. And even Tampa, because they've lost Chris Godwin for the season, makes sense. I just think right now, though, I think Green Bay step up from offensive and defensive personnel. So I think that would be the place if they wanted to set him to a team to where he could fit, where he could produce and succeed. I think that would be his best bet.
Yeah, I actually like that pick. That move.
Yeah, I think that's a good move for them because
I don't hate the Packers.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't know if the Rams are that willing to help another NFC counterpart. So I'm trying to think of an AFC team that may want to take him on. Somebody like the Broncos, somebody who has picks that they can give to the Rams, because that's what the Rams are probably going to be looking for. I don't think they're looking to get.
Here's my different AFC team.
Return.
Here's a different AFC team, a team that actually has a good amount of picks and has a young quarterback that needs to go to weapon. What about the Patriots? What about Drake? What about giving Drake May a reliable receiver? And plus, we know the Patriots love their good slot wide receivers. So he would fit well with the culture. It fits well with the history. And obviously Cooper Kupp's different than like Gunnar Olszewski, whatever his name was. But that's another reason why you trade for receivers like that. That's the same reason the Cowboys traded for Amari Cooper back in 2018 is because they needed a number one receiver to give their quarterback. That's what you want to do when you have a young quarterback is you want to supply him with weapons. Right now, Drake May, he's throwing to guys like Hunter Henry, who is past his prime, and the receiver that played for the Niners,
Kendrick Bourne.
Kendrick Bourne. Right now, that is their two best weapons.
Walker, the rookie, is it Walker from UCF?
Yeah, Javon Walker, but he's still a rookie. I'm talking about if you want to develop your rookie quarterback, you need to develop weapons. So if you're talking about an AFC team, I like the Patriots because I think the East, especially the wild card, is kind of open.
The East is a crazy division for sure.
Yeah, because Buffalo's gonna win that, but I don't think I think they're actually pretty beatable this year. Buffalo is because they handicapped themselves so much to rebuild the team after the cap.
That is true. So getting into now we'll get into the Cowboys and 49ers preview. The first question I got to ask, this is tacos and touchdowns. So what is the best taco place you ever been to, and what is the go-to taco to get there?
Yeah, I know there's some really good tacos in Texas. I haven't been there yet, but I'm planning to make some trips. But
you are more than welcome. You're more than welcome.
I'm in South Florida, and there's actually I moved. I grew up probably like 40 minutes from here, but I moved down here. It's a city called Homestead, and there's a place called Ernesto's Tacos. Steak soft taco. They have a wide array of sauces: avocado sauce, cilantro sauce, hot sauce. Like the whole gamut. Corn tortillas. Got to go with the corn, not the flour. But yeah, Ernesto's Taco is definitely and something I ran into on accident. I moved out here, I didn't really know anybody. I knew one 49er fan that I have. His cousin actually lives down here. And one day we were talking, we were in a group chat or something. And I was like, yeah, I'm at Taco Bell. He's like, why are you at Taco Bell when Ernesto's is right there? I'm like, yo, bro, I love Taco Bell. Honestly, I love Taco Bell's my jam. But he's like, yeah, try Ernesto's. And I tried it, man. It was great. Ernesto's Taco in Homestead, Florida.
Okay, so I'm curious, Malcolm. So are you when it comes to your tacos, do you prefer like dry meat or do you like them when it comes out the broth? I'm just curious.
Usually dry. I've done I think it's birria where you like
birria,
yeah, there we go. I've done that. The hands, the sticky hands, I'm not with that all the time. So I usually like the nice dry seasoned steak meat. I'll tell you there too. Ground beef there. I've done in Vegas. I had the cheek. I forgot what it's called, but it's like the beef cheek.
Barbacoa,
yeah, barbacoa. I've had brain. That was totally on accident. That's like
I forgot that was called.
Yeah. So Vegas is open like whatever all night or whatever. So we're really drunk and we get to it's like a work trip. So my boss is like, you got to go to this taco place. I know this place, whatever. So we get there. Line is around the corner. So whatever she like gets up near the front, kind of sweet talks one of the cooks. He's like, the only thing I can give you without getting everybody else in here pissed is the brain taco. It was for the border. So whatever, I had a brain taco. It was actually pretty good. It doesn't taste like meat. It tastes like brain, but a little salsa, a little cheese. It's a taco.
Let me ask you a question. That night, after you got done eating the taco, when you got back to the hotel room, did you lose your mind?
No.
I wish I had
the
drum thing going.
Yeah, you got a rickshaw?
No, I was intact. It was fine. You know, I'm an adventurer when it comes to food. I've gone to the Philippines. I've had balut, which is which is basically like a chicken egg, and they just it's like partially fertilized, and then they bury it, and it stays underground for X amount or whatever, and then they take it out and you eat it. And it's like
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's like a fermented. So when you open it, there's like a chicken in there looking at you. So you got to take the chicken head off, and then you eat like the surrounding stuff. And honestly, tastes just like a hard-boiled egg. No lie, it looks crazy, but it tastes exactly like a regular hard-boiled egg, even though it's a partially fermented bit in the ground.
Yeah.
Tacos and touchdowns, fear factor today.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're 15 minutes into the show. Brain is made of the same stuff as egg.
There you go.
Oh my God.
I don't know how we ended up on that topic, but yeah, Ernesto's tacos. Go ahead.
Yeah, usually, Aaron, you save the taco question for the end, but you jumped right into that, didn't you?
Yeah, I just wanted to see. I want to see where it goes sometimes, but it was and we went into fear factor for a little bit. We'll get back into football.
Look it up if you got time. Look it up. Balut, BALUT.
I ain't gonna touch that.
It's not for the faint of heart.
I agree. So, Shay, you got a question right now
about tacos or about the game?
About the game.
Okay. All right. Just changing gears. Okay. So the Niners and Cowboys, two teams a lot of people picked to go to the playoffs. Obviously, Aaron knows I've been much more pessimistic. Personally, I actually like that Cowboys fans and Cowboys discourse has been a lot more pessimistic towards the Jones family, especially because I've been screaming this for years. Like, hey, they keep doing the same stuff. Quit trusting them. And like whenever the team suffers, the fans are the ones who get the blowback, especially from the media. But obviously, this year is a little different, because the owner essentially did nothing in terms of free agency. He put all the pressure on the coach and even hired one of their old coaches to coach the defense, Mike Zimmer, which has done nothing yet. And now all their better players are getting hurt. DeMarcus Lawrence is on IR. Deron Bland is in that 21-day window, but it sounds like he's not coming back just yet. He won't be back for this game at least. Micah Parsons is 50-50, but I doubt he played this game personally. I think they'd rather save him until he's fresh. And right now they're basing a lot of their best plays on rookies and guys who are coming off a rookie season where they didn't play. Like DeMar being overshown, Aaron knows, was one of their better defensive players this year, but he's had his struggles because this is essentially his rookie year. And anyone who's watched the NFL knows you can have a really good first year, but if it comes off a season where you got hurt, that does take away from some of your development. And they've had to rely on rookie offensive linemen like Cooper Beebe, who's gone from guard to center. He's had his struggles, but he's actually looked overall, I'd say, pretty solid. And Tyler Guyton, who is going from right tackle to left tackle out of Oklahoma, he has become a liability right now. I told Aaron forever ago, I brought this as just like a joke, but I thought maybe he really is the future at right tackle. He has not looked good at left tackle. I don't know if he's going to play this week because he was inactive in the last game, but I think they're probably going to put him back out there. Just, feed him to the fire. Why not? Let him go against Nick Bosa. But the 49ers are –
I support that.
He says I support that. The 49ers, though, unfortunately, y'all been hit. It feels like an injury every week.
Before the season even started, right? We were down
McCaffrey was down in the preseason. Debo just got out of the hospital because he had flu. And as someone who has had the flu before, I can say right now, just breathing whenever you get done with that is sucks. So I would probably, if I had to guess, 50-50 this weekend just for him. I mean, he's probably physically fine, but in terms of just being able to breathe, that on his own is going to be a problem. Y'all's offensive line has been, I guess, spotty is probably the word, just because against the Chiefs,
it's really Trent. It's really Trent, man. Trent is usually the stalwart, and with him holding out during the offseason, he's come back. You're talking about somebody who's normally rated PFF, in the 90s, and he's scraping the 70s right now. And he looks old. The best. He's the best one. So yeah, offensive line. Now, offensive line has been better. The rest of them, they're not like 30s anymore. They're like 50s now. But Trent coming from 90 to 70 is really adding to the inconsistencies on the offensive line. The Pooney has been the one bright spot. The guard that we
liked him out of Kansas. I liked him a lot. But
again, he's a rookie, so there's going to be opportunities throughout. But I think the offensive line has actually been okay. It's just been everything else, all the moving pieces. CMC, Mason does a really admirable job of trying to be CMC, but he's not CMC. He probably has the running part of it, but I think so much of what makes that offense tick is the fear of what CMC is going to do, right? Is he going to go out in a pattern? Is he going to catch the ball on a wheel route? Whatever he's going to do, the defense has to prepare for all that. And for Mason, he's just going to run at him like the juggernaut, and he wins a lot of times. But he just doesn't have that that home run ability where any run CMC gets, he could take to the house. And then obviously at wide receiver, Ayuk started off slow. Now he's out. Pearsall got shot. It's crazy.
And he's starting.
Right? Like our starting what is he probably gonna play X, I think. I don't know, but he got shot.
If Jawan plays y'all's Y, and we can assume Debo comes in, Debo plays the Z, so then I guess Pearsall plays the X.
Yeah. Cowing has shown a lot of big play ability, but again, another rookie. Jennings has been in and out of the lineup. Kittle missed one game, but he's been the only one that's really played like up to, you could say, his level. So it's been a real mixed bag of poop on the offensive side of the ball for the 49ers, to say the least. And then defensively, I think, again, we got a new coordinator. There's a lot of Wilkes, had the defense here. Wilkes had the defense here. Why did they get rid of Wilkes? They were scapegoating Wilkes. But I think Sorensen is coming in. We have an entirely new defensive line. I think Nick Bosa is the only dude outside of like Kevin Givens. And I think there was one other guy, but basically a new defensive line. We're missing Greenlaw still from the Super Bowl. Entirely new secondary outside of two new safeties. With Mustafa and Jair Brown, who's a starter last year, but it's like his second year. So I think Sorensen has a lot more work to sort of get them to gel. So we'll see how it goes. It hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been great either.
I think right now there are two key areas that I think would probably hurt the Cowboys on Sunday, and there are two areas I think the Cowboys could actually excel if they do right and they can scheme the right way. The two areas I'm most concerned with, number one, is Jordan Mason, because even though you're right, he doesn't have the same dynamicism as Christian McCaffrey, he does lead the league right now with 53 broken tackles. And you know which defense has allowed the most missed tackles through the first half of the season?
This team.
Jerry's boys.
Yeah, Jerry's boys, the Cowboys. They have, I think I checked, there's like a 15%.
I'm pretty sure the 49ers are like second, though.
It might be. I think they have like a 15% missed tackle rate so far this season. So like Jordan Mason, just power alone is a concern, especially when y'all will run a lot of those two tight end personnel when y'all have Kittle and Gentry as y'all's two tight ends, and then of course use check as a weapon in and of itself. I've seen a couple plays where they literally will line up with two tight and a 22 personnel with just Debo on the outside, right? And then all of a sudden, Purdy will go from under center, call an audible, and he'll go to an empty package. And on the outside, you have Juszczyk and Kittle. You have Gentry and Debo in the slot, and then you have Mason, who plays sort of like an H-back tight end who's just outside the tackle. And I'm like, who does this stuff? Because this doesn't look. It goes from a 22 package to a 5 wide set, and the thing is like, I mean, these guys aren't going to run go routes. I'm not expecting Jordan Mason to run go routes, but the fact that they do this means that they're going to scheme up a way to get somebody open. And that's just the creativity that the Cowboys lack. And that's also the creativity that has been a thorn in the Cowboys since the Packers game last year, which has also been the blueprint for how to beat the Cowboys. A lot of motions, a lot of outside zone powers, plenty of pulling guards and tackles from the opposite side to elevate the running game from a 3-yard gain to a 3-yard gain to a 7-yard gain with extra push, which is what Detroit did, which is what the Saints did, which is what the Bills did last year, which is what the Niners did last year, which is what the Packers have been doing. So it's these same issues that they didn't fix in the offseason that they could have. But two areas I think they can take advantage of, and this is all obviously dependent on if they don't abandon their game plan in the first 15 plays like they had to against the Lions and like they had to against the Ravens, which against the Ravens was actually more of a success because they did almost win that game, but I was still disgusted with the first half. That I think what you can do is you can beat them deep. Because Jair Brown, as good of a player as he is, he a lot of times reacts a little bit too late. If you saw the game, if you see the game that they played against the Vikings,
the one 92-yard, 97
exactly,
whatever it was.
He caught him looking. He was looking too much towards Addison, who was on his side. Jefferson comes across a post route off his backside. He reacts too late, but that's one of those things. If you can that he has done that, and that's something I've seen on the 49ers this course, that Jair Brown will give up big plays. So if they had that. I'm not sure if Brandon Cooks is going to be available. It might have to be a situation where you use Jalen Tolbert deep, maybe CeeDee Lamb, maybe try him. That's one way you can do it. And surprisingly, one way that they've given up yards on the defense has been the tight end position. And I don't know why that is, because last year y'all were really good at covering the tight end position. Maybe Drake Greenlaw being out. Yeah.
Greenlaw.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be it.
Devondre Campbell. I hope he doesn't play.
Devondre Campbell is still a good tackle, but he is not the coverage guy he once was.
He's not good at anything right now. I hope D Witters D Witters continue to get more plays. So I think D Witters is a lot more athletic. But yeah, I agree. The tight end, the middle of the field kind of situation, because usually Fred Warner is going to be tasked with carrying the slot wide receiver in whatever zone they might be in. So bringing a tight end below or over or around that is definitely an opportunity that the 49ers need to watch out for.
Yeah. Who do you think needs to be the X factor on the offense, on the defense for 49ers?
Offensively, I mean, I could say Mason, like he just mentioned, but let me think, because I made some notes here.
Oh, we got notes. I like it. I love when a guest has notes. I appreciate that. People come prepared, because Aaron knows I take notes. He knows.
So
preparation is changed.
I mentioned him early. Pooney is definitely going to be important. But honestly, I think Purdy is going to be the most important part of the offense right now, because he's going to have to make the offense go. He has one possible wide receiver in Debo. We don't know if Jennings is going to play. Kittle is out there. But between Pearsall, Cowing, I forgot the third guy right now, the special teams guy, but he's a pretty good wide receiver in spot duty. No, McLeod is in Atlanta.
Okay, I was like, that's not him. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's number 18, Conley. There we go. Chris Conley.
Okay.
Who has some speed on him. But I think if Purdy can not hold on to the ball like he did in the Kansas City game, not force the ball down the field when he had open routes underneath like he did in the Kansas City game, I think it's all going to come down to Purdy this game and this season altogether, right? There's a lot of discourse over the last couple of years that, he's being carried. He's the system, whatever the case might be. Well, now he doesn't have any of the Avengers. And it's really going to be up to him. So I think that this team is going to go as Purdy goes, and that's how it's been so far. When Purdy's played great, we've won. And when Purdy is throwing interceptions, we haven't won. So I know it's kind of an obvious X factor, but honestly, in this instance, because Purdy's so used to just being a part of the offense, I think Purdy needs to be the offense to make the offense go this game on offense.
So for the Cowboys, their X factor, I believe, is going to be Cooper Beebe, the center. So one thing that I noticed about the 49ers defense this year is that y'all don't really run a ton of stunts. Y'all run a traditional four-man blitz. Y'all just try and overpower people. But as I'm sure y'all have seen on film, a lot of teams like to stunt blitz the Cowboys. And so I wouldn't be surprised if y'all try something like that in this game. So I think it's going to be important for Cooper Beebe, not only in terms of pass blocking, but in calling out protections on the offensive line. I don't know if Guyton's going to be the starter left tackle or if they're going to go back to Tyler Smith out there. I'm going to assume that they go back to their core five of Guyton, Smith, Beebe, Martin, who's looked terrible this year, and Terrence Steele at the right tackle. Zach Martin has just looked old. He just has. It is what it is. But I think him calling out the proper protections and getting the snap to block set, which he has gotten better at, is going to be key in this game, especially against a team, again, that we haven't seen run as many stunts as they did last year, but I think has the personnel to do it. And one thing I know about Fred Warner is, even though Fred Warner, as you just talked about, has played a lot of covers this year, this would be the game, if you wanted to let him play some downhill blitz, would be the one to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and my X factor for this game is kind of a mixture of both, and I'm going on defense, and that's DeMarvin Overshown as our weak side linebacker.
You're such a homer. You're such a Longhorn homer.
Of course
He's so popular.
He's got the flag. He's got the little flag in the background. Everyone can see it. Like, oh, I wonder what player he's gonna pick. You never said one negative thing about DeMarvin Overshown, even though he did not look good against the Lions either. Their best player on defense that game was Damone Clark. That was the only one.
Yeah, it was Damone Clark. But on this side, one thing, he's a sideline to sideline type of tackler, and we're gonna go against a running back that likes to run outside, and that's when you need DeMarvin Overshown to step up, but you need the defensive line to step up. We're down to the fourth string defensive end right now when it comes to that, and our defensive line tackles have been struggling, but they got to do gap integrity because it can't just be based on the linebackers trying to find a hole. You got to make sure they have that opening to shoot the gaps and everything. So it goes to the linebackers and defensive line when it comes to my X factors for this game. So, your turn.
Cop out answer.
Yeah.
I think
the linebacker has to tackle the running back, something they haven't been able to do.
Hey, that is an X factor. They got to do it.
I get it.
I'm looking forward to on defense. I'm looking forward to two matchups. I'm looking forward to Lenoir versus Lamb. I think that's going to be a battle. But I'm also interested to see, because I think, again, Lamb being the receiver that he is, you're going to have to, bracket, double, whatever you're going to have to do. Renardo Green on the other side, is he going to be able to basically quell the Cowboys offense? Because if you can keep Lamb from doing Lamb type things, there's not much else going on at wide receiver for the Cowboys there. So I think Lenoir and CeeDee Lamb one-on-one is going to be a good matchup, but I feel like the other corner, and kind of the same thing on the defensive line. I think, the Cowboys are going to slide to both the side or whatever. So can Floyd get off and punish them for sort of leaning Bosa's way? If they can force that to happen where they can't help for Bosa because Floyd is going too far off, where they're trying to figure out which side should we help on. It's going to be a long game.
I like Lenoir. He's physical. He's chippy. He's not the biggest guy, but he plays a lot bigger. I liked him a lot. I liked him a lot at Oregon, and I'm kind of surprised he went from slot to pretty much the outside guy across from Charvarius Ward. Charvarius. I always got his name wrong. The former Cowboy.
They call him Mooney.
Yeah. They call him. No, but I actually like that a lot because he's right. If a lot of teams, whenever they want to stop CeeDee Lamb, has been bracketing him because they forced the Cowboys to throw on the inside, which the Cowboys have been so predictable when it's third and long and they need 5 or 6 yards, for instance.
Slant.
Oh, and Lamb's in the slot. They're going to slant. Oh, I wonder what they're going to do. And I'm sitting at home I know what y'all are going to do. I don't have a copy of the playbook, and I know exactly what's going to happen. 2 yard slant. That's why the middle linebacker didn't move.
The playbook's about this big.
And I know Dak is frustrated with that. I know Dak is frustrated. Why are we calling the same play? They ran that same slant route on 3rd or 4th and whatever against the Saints, and it didn't work once. All they did was shift the linebacker over, and it was right there. So yeah, if you bracket Lamb, you force. I think at this point though, they probably throw it to Ferguson. For all the guff I give the receiving core, Ferguson has been their top two, their second option, and he's
a good tight end.
He is a good player. I would say he's an ascending tight end. You could probably hear my daughter in the background agree with me that I think that's probably gonna be a factor on the Cowboys offense though. And I'll throw a name out there that maybe Aaron hasn't thought about, and then maybe you haven't thought about either. Rico Dowdle. He's a guy who's averaged over 4.5 yards per carry, and unfortunately, when they get down early, they have to abandon the run. Against the Lions, he averaged 5 yards per carry, but they got down quick in that game. They couldn't give him the ball anymore. And I'm also tired of them giving those snaps to Zeke, but that's just me. But I think if they can
homie.
I think if they can establish the run, because you're right, the defensive line doesn't look the same. I think you can run the ball on this defensive line, but if you get to the point where you have to abandon the run early, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how Rico Dowdle is doing per carry because you had to abandon it. I think this is a game in which you can establish the run if you can be consistent with it. But if you fall behind and your offensive play calling becomes stale, which it has, and it becomes predictable, which it has, then unfortunately Rico Dowdle goes from X factor to non-factor, and then we're back to where we started. But that's just my opinion. What do I know, right? Jerry Jones doesn't listen to radio people. That really
was such a weird interaction.
Radio people.
That pissed me off. Aaron knows. I'm not saying I am the ultra radio person. Not many people know who the hell I am, but I do work in radio. I work in sports radio, and so I'm like, what do you mean? That's not their job. That's exactly the job.
Then he doubled down. He's like, if it wasn't the people I was paying, if it was somebody else, but the people I'm paying should not be the ones asking me those type of questions.
And he doesn't even pay them. I think he was confused. I think he thought this was a DallasCowboys.com interview, and DallasCowboys.com is owned by Jerry Jones. But the station that interviewed him is an independent-owned station. Odyssey. They're owned by the company Odyssey. But Jerry Jones has no say in how that station runs its stuff.
Hey Shane,
he was not happy.
I got a stat for you that's gonna piss you off. Brock Purdy has more rushing yards than Ezekiel Elliott by 30 yards.
That pissed me off. That pissed me off. Want to know why? Because that validates what I've been saying all off season. All that does is make me feel vindicated. And that pissed me off. Of course he does. Yeah. Oh my God! You think I'm only irritated because we saw this coming for months, and Jerry and Steven and Mike McCarthy wanted us to think that we were crazy, that we didn't know better. Oh, you're just a fan. Oh, you just have a podcast. You don't know any better. You're not a football person. You don't know. No, but you know what? Maybe I'm not. But I'm someone who has common sense.
Yeah, you can look at the film from last year. He's not the same guy that he was in 2016.
Yeah. If you go to NFL.com, you can get all 22 access. It's pretty easy to do that, by the way. Go to NFL.com. You select the all 22 access on the replays. Anyone can have all 22 access. It ain't like a thing that's people online, those Twitter scouts that are guarding all 22. It's precious. It's available to everybody. Just we're creating accounts. Anybody can do it.
They don't think that. They just think we're this old dumb podcaster just yelling in a microphone, but.
Well, we are, but it doesn't mean we're wrong.
I'm trying to give us a little bit of a doubt.
There's a point to be made, but the point also stalled because what they said was even more wrong.
I think Jerry has just been digging him a hole more and more. It started in the offseason where he started with the all-in stuff and then didn't do anything. And then he's like, no, this is my version of all-in or something like that. The trade deadline is approaching. It doesn't look like they're gonna do anything. And then
I could see that. I could see them making a move. Because whenever they make a move, it's then when they say that we're not going to be active. When they say we're not going to be active, they usually sneak up behind us and make a move.
Yeah.
When they say we'll certainly look at that, they ain't doing nothing. When they say they're going to look at something, they ain't doing it. If they're saying, hey, I don't expect us to be, that's when you expect them to make a move.
They do the total opposite.
They do the total opposite.
Dak. What do you guys think about? I think they had to pay him, but what do you think about how much they paid him?
Aaron, you go first.
They waited too long. That's the main thing. The Cowboys waited too long to sign players, and then we got to pay them more than we should have. And that's the problem. That's the Cowboys. They waited until the last second.
That's the problem.
They're going to be in the same situation with Purdy coming up here in a couple months.
It didn't. They needed to pay Dak because he's worth the money. I'm not saying quarterbacks. If you have a franchise quarterback, you pay your franchise quarterback. That's just how it is. You want to know why? Because it's hard to find them. Yeah. We can't all be the Green Bay Packers and go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Okay, that in a 30-year span, that doesn't normally happen.
Jury's still out on Jordan Love.
Yeah, fair enough. But he's
no promise though.
He's been good enough so far. Yeah. He's been solid enough. But the point is, when you have a quarterback, you pay your quarterback because you don't want to go into the draft cycle of selecting a quarterback because then you don't know what they're going to be. I think yeah, they need to pay Dak. But here's the thing: if they had paid him in March before Tua and Herbert and Sunshine and all those guys got paid, or Jordan Love, when they paid Jordan Love for half a really good season of football. Sorry, I'm just
and 2 interceptions in the championship game.
And 2 interceptions. Yeah, he didn't look good against y'all until it mattered.
It's even worse. They paid Trevor Lawrence the same
money.
It
would have cost them like $8 to $9 million less per year just on their base salary alone. The guaranteed money that fluctuates based on the market. Okay, the guaranteed money is nothing, right? Who cares about guaranteed money except for the guy actually getting the check? But we're talking about a team who's team building. How you spread your cap is predicated on how long you sign the contract for. So, yeah, if they assigned that contract earlier, there's less on there. And then now Jerry gets to do his favorite thing, which is, we pay our guys a certain amount of money. And unfortunately, because they were so selfish and they wanted that money, it wasn't our fault that we waited until the wide receiver price and the quarterback price became too expensive, even though we definitely could have signed them earlier.
Jerry's never wrong.
Jerry's, yeah. Yeah, you always want to point out the things I've done wrong. What about the things that I've done right? Back when Clinton was president.
Me and Jimmy Jones. Jimmy Johnson.
Well, I do think that Jimmy is a good coach, but we didn't want to put him in the Ring of Honor too early. We wanted to make sure we honored.
I guess that is the pattern, right? Because they waited like 30 years to put Jimmy in the ring.
That
Jerry waits for the last minute for everything.
Yeah.
It's basically the show's been the Cowboys. It's like venting out our frustration, and then other fans.
You could do a whole other show on 49er frustration. If you want.
I don't want to go. I don't want to get into that because they're not going to have a foot to stand on compared to Cowboys frustration. You're just not, because like the entire world laughs at Cowboys frustration. People pity the 49ers.
Yeah.
But because Jerry has made the Cowboys such a big media market, a zoo, a spectacle, that like the people who suffer the most are the Cowboys fans, because it doesn't matter what the Cowboys do. For God's sake, Dak Prescott could have a hangnail on his pinky, and they would talk about, is this going to affect his throwing motion against the Lions? What's the mindset of a quarterback who has a chipped nail on his pinky? And then Dan Orlovsky's like, as someone who played in the NFL for 15 years and had that one play where he went out of bounds, let me tell you what I think.
Listen, I've seen lots of games from the bench. That's what Orlovsky said.
He has all the experience when it comes to that. But
there was just an article I think I read today where and obviously there were some players who maybe aren't the best, character or whatever. I think like Fowler, I forgot who the other guy was, but they were
Kelvin Joseph.
We're trying to practice and like fans are walking by. We're having team meetings. I'm getting cussed out, and like people are in the window watching me get cussed out in team meetings. I do want to go. I'm not gonna lie. I do want to go. What is it? Ford Field, I think, like that facility. I do want to see that because that looks
Ford Field is in Detroit.
No, what's the area called where the Cowboys practice?
The Star?
Yeah, called the Star.
You talking about the Star?
I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
The practice facility, right?
On Hard Knocks, where they had the drone come through and they went through like this building, and then there's the field.
Oxnard, okay, Oxnard. And Hard Knocks,
I think it's in Dallas though.
Oh, you talking about that?
Well, the thing is, the practice facility where the gym and their fields are and all that stuff where they have meetings, that's called the Star. If you're talking about Hard Knocks where they had training camp, that's in Oxnard, California. That's
I don't know. Somewhere. But I want to visit. I do want to go to Jerry World because
he wants to go somewhere.
I do. It's like one of the wonders of the world, for sure.
Don't go knocking on the window.
It's overrated.
Really? I don't know. My boss is a huge.
It's fun the first time.
Fan. My boss has season tickets, and he sells them a lot of the time. But I would sell my entire pack for the year this year.
I ain't going to no games this year.
No, what was crazy is because he lives in somewhere, I forgot where he lives in Texas, but he has to take a flight to go to the game or whatever. So he has to take a flight, get a hotel room. So he was so excited before the Saints game to go. He's like, "Yeah, I can't wait to go to the game. It's the Saints. We're probably gonna take." And then the Saints game happened. And the whole game, I was just thinking about him, like, damn, like he spent like all this money on plane tickets, on the hotel room,
Yeah.
the season tickets, and then they
Yeah.
laid an egg.
Did you see him? Did you see him on Monday? Be like, man, you spent $600 for an ass whooping?
Yeah, it's hard because he is still my boss. So I'm like trying to find slight jabs.
Not to where you lose your job. That's what you're trying to
Right?
say.
You know what I'm saying? I've been very quiet this week, but if we win, please believe the Slack instant messaging is gonna be popping. This if we win this weekend.
Man, this has definitely been a great show. It's been a Venom show and it's been a comedy as well. When it comes to both our seasons, it's been a bit of a comedy. Just the injuries and then
Comedy of errors.
Yeah, just I'll not describe this season, but it's been one. But was there anything before we end the show that you want to go over, Shane?
No, I can't think of anything right now. I think I'm pretty much talked out.
Yeah,
You got all this Jerry beef out.
Yeah.
Oh no, I got plenty more. I just don't really want to cuss about it right now. I've trained myself from working in radio just not to like throw around cuss words that ain't allowed on the airways.
Well, hey Shane, I'll make a promise. We'll eventually do a therapy show where it's uncut, so we won't get cut off of YouTube.
Nah, because my wife's a therapist, and she'll be like, "Can I talk about it?" And I'm like, "I don't want to hear about this."
I forgot.
Oh man.
Hey, before we let
she's watching the stream, and she can be like, "I'm gonna kick your ass later for that one."
Dang, I might not have calls next week, but before we let you go, bro, where can they find your show and everything that you got going on?
Yeah, I'm on all social media platforms, Instagram, at Big Block Sports, just as you see it there on the screen. I do a weekly wrap up, recap, whatever you want to call it. It's depending on how many games there are, 14-bar, 16-bar wrap on every game, recapping the wins and losses, punchlines and things of that nature. So that's what I've been doing with my sports pages at this point in time. I just got Pro Era 2025. I don't know if you guys have an Oculus or a MetaQuest headset, the VR headset, but it's a really fun game. You really feel like you're playing quarterback. So I'm thinking about doing a full career on there, and I'll probably stream some of that live because I got nothing better to do with my time. But yeah, that's it, man. Thanks for having me on. Good luck this weekend. I hope y'all lose by a lot.
Thanks for having me on. Double bird.
Basically.
Thanks for having me on, man. It's been fun for sure.
Absolutely. Yes. This has been Tacos and Touchdown Live. Y'all have a good one. Peace.